Do you think that if a deal is found, this is an admission of defeat for Saudi Arabia because it has failed, hasn't it, to drive those Houthi rebels out of the capital despite years of fighting?
Absolutely. I mean, the Riyadh is now talking to a movement that it vowed not to talk to, that it wanted to be defeated and pushed out of Yemen. They're talking to the Houthis about an end to missiles and effectively a peace between the Houthi movement and Saudi Arabia. They're not talking to the Houthis so much about the kind of the internal governance question, it would seem, although that may come to bear as we move forward. So this is a defeat for the Saudis. It's not what they wanted from Yemen, but the priority for Riyadh now is to get out, to ensure some stability on their southern border, and to be able to focus all their efforts and resources on this Vision 2030 economic kind of renewal that the Crown Prince MBS is driving at home.
Yemen, though, isn't the only country in the Middle East where we can see a sort of regional balance of power shifting right now. If we look at Syria, there are clearly efforts there to end the isolation of the dictator Bashar al-Assad. The Saudi foreign minister is visiting Damascus this week. That's the first time in a decade. And there are efforts as well to welcome Syria back into the Arab League. How much do you think these efforts to rehabilitate Assad are being led by Saudi Arabia, and how significant do you think that all is?
Well, I mean, it speaks to a number of things. I mean, one, it's just Saudi Arabia, like many other regional states, and exemplified by talks with Iran, wanting an end to regional conflict and regional instability, and recognizing that Assad is not going anywhere. He's there to stay, and that they're going to have to deal with him. So it's part and parcel of this bigger picture of regional détente, of which the Iran-Saudi talks is one of them. Will it change much? I mean, it's hard to know. I mean, the Saudis are hoping that they can extract some concessions out of Assad on regional files. They're hoping that it might lead to some dilution of Iranian influence. But Assad has never given an inch. He has very little kind of willingness to compromise at this stage.
Oh, and what about for Israel? Because there are some who believe that this deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran leaves Israel more vulnerable, perhaps less likely to secure its own sort of normalization deal with Israel. Do you agree? Do you think Israel's now more isolated as a result of this realignment?
I think it makes it harder for the Israelis to construct this anti-Iranian alliance that they were hoping to do so. They brought in a number of states, and they very much see Saudi Arabia as being a linchpin of this. Riyadh may still be willing to move forward with some degree of engagement with Israel and normalization, but it's not going to do so, I think, under the desired Israeli umbrella of forging an anti-Iran coalition. Saudi Arabia wants regional stability. It recognizes that it has to talk to Iran to guarantee its own security interests.
آنچه در مورد ما میگویند